Hello, my readers, and welcome to my podcast, Fictional Analysis. I am your host, Kajal, and today is the day for the Ivory Review Series Part 3, where I will be reviewing chapters 31 of 45 of Ivory by Nyla K, which is the last book in the Alabaster Penitentiary series. So, before we start, make sure you follow me as your one follow helps me a lot. So, this chapter mainly focuses on Ivory and Angel's interaction. We will talk about that in some time. But we also had some chapters on Lem, Luther, Ren, and Byron. Basically, of Lem, it was that Ivory had him locked up and was torturing him, and how Trevel, who wanted revenge from him, saved him. There was some talk on that, and then how Joy, Rook, and Felix came to save Lem. And then it was again some chapters of past when Luther met his parents with Ren and how they came back to the island and met Byron. So it was nothing new. Like there wasn't any revelation in there, just normal talk. And then there was a chapter of Byron. It basically was a mix of past and present talks. So basically, there was nothing big mm, revelations here. Then the last chapters were mostly dedicated to Ivory and Angel. They were all in Angel or Manuel's POV. But the last chapters, that is from 40 to 45, were purely of Ivory and Angel. Of the time when Angel was locked up, I will get to the point of how he got locked up and also discuss this point in detail. Now we have some chapters of Angel from the past, not that past, but during the time he came in prison when he knew of that side gig from one of his friends. Remember, I said in the previous episode that Angel was staying with some of his friends when one of them said about the secret work she did, and it was on an island, and then later Angel discovered that it was the alabaster pen. Yes, that one. At the same time, so after the prison went on lockdown, everything was stopped. No one was coming from outside, but Angel somehow succeeded in staying on the hotel. Sorry, island, hiding from everyone. And then, when Ivory got new soldiers, Angel went to the prison to see what they were like. And he got caught there and locked up in a small cell. And some weeks later, Ivory gets to know that a girl is locked up in that cell. But he thinks that she's Angel's sister, as Angel was dressed up like a girl. But before he can come to him, the door of Angel's cell is unlocked because apparently Luther messed with the systems and all the servers were disabled. So all the doors were unlocked. And that's how Angel escaped. And then he goes to a solitary where he finds Ivory. But they barely share a glance before the ceiling falls between them. Literally. Now Angel runs, but Ivory is stuck as he was on the other side. But he managed to escape and was now frantic to find Angel as he saw him after so many years. So when he couldn't, he goes to his room and that's where Angel attacks him. He planned to kill him, but some other things happened. Ivory was able to distract him by some means and then lock him up in a bird cage. Yes, you heard right, a bird cage of the size of a room. It has a queen size bed, dresser, a closet, and also a bathroom. Really? A bird cage. Now, the last six chapters were dedicated purely to Ivory and Angel. After Angel was locked, what things they and Ivory did, and many more. But the main thing was that Ivory started to have feelings for Angel. Like he said in his mind that he loves him, not to him, but in his mind. As you know, the habit of heroes who have stayed alone for years, as soon as they have start having feelings for someone special, they feel like they are becoming too vulnerable. So they intentionally hurt and be casual with them. And that's what the Ivory did too. I think I understand them a little. When they have been on their own for so long without having anyone on their side to trust them, they always have to build this wall of ice around them so no one can get close to them. And when someone gets close enough, or they feel like they are starting to have feelings for them, which always is the hero or heroine for that matters, they distance themselves so that they don't have to be vulnerable in front of them. It can be tough when they have steeled their heart for so long. But they have to take a little risk, right? For their future, for them. Don't you think? And now, at last, there was a scene in Byron's chapter, at last, when Ivory's voice comes from their walkie, asking, or more like begging, them to talk to him. Now, I don't know what that is, but what does he want to talk about? The scene hasn't come yet, it's in the later chapters, but I think as Angel has escaped and maybe Ivory thinks he is with them, so he is kind of freaked out or something. But now let's see what will happen. The next episode will be the last one of this book, and I'm pretty excited to know the end of this book. Like Ivory is on one side, and Well and other officers and all the prisoners are on one side, and there's a literal war going between them. And I think it will only end when one of them dies. And how can one of them die when they are all important part of the story? I am excited to know what will happen in the end. And in this part, there wasn't any problem about timeline as the chapters were concentrated in one timeline for the most of the time. So that's it for today. I will read the last 15 chapters next week and review them. I would also appreciate if you could recommend some spicy and exciting novels to me. Stay tuned for the last and full review of The Ivory. And if you want the link to the website from which I download my books for free, DM me and I will send you the link. Till then, stay delusional.